Alright, welcome back, Chummers. This is our second video, going over some starting bits of character creation. All of our setup is going to start paying off as you go through character creation. And especially as we play, once you're in career mode, that's really what it's for. But what we're going to do now is go to your character roster, and then in the upper left you see this little guy with a plus. It's new character, so we're going to click that. Yes, and it's got our full house from earlier. You could set it now, but it's easier just to set the default. If you want to like mess around and make multiple characters, you don't have to select it every time. If you're making a wacky NPC, or you just want to see how busted you can make things, you can ignore the character creation rules, but we're not going to do that right now. So just click OK, because this is all, if it's the full house setting, it's exactly all where we need it to be. So click OK. And here we see the priority and metatype selection window. Unlike many other RPGs, which just give everyone the same resources or semi-random stats, SR5 works off of a series of priorities. We have 5 levels, A, B, C, D, and E, with A being the absolute highest priority and E being the absolute lowest priority. So I'll tell you a little bit about the priorities, so that it's clear what all of these do. So first off, we have metatype. The higher priority you put in metatype, the more choices for your race you have, kind of first and foremost. So at E, you have only human. D, just human or elf. C, it gets opened up a little bit, and then B, you get B and A seem the same, but they aren't. They say any metatype, but there's a critical difference, because the other thing that metatype priority chooses for you is how many points for special attributes you have. So you can see here that just at the default A, B, C, D, E, I have 9 points for special attributes, which this can result in some interesting things. So picking Dwarf A and Dwarf B, two very different things. Picking Dwarf C means I only have one, and then D, I can't pick a dwarf at all. And so special attributes, what that really means is how much edge do you have, and you can really crank it if you want. You can get a comical amount of edge depending on your metatype. Of course, different races, different metatypes have different maximums for edge. So like playing any metatype, human A, that's a bit much. What A is really for is to choose a meta variant. We'll get into those. Anyway, so with special attributes, technically they can improve magic or resonance, but that's a rare scenario. As well, like I said, choosing a higher metatype priority allows you to unlock things like meta variants, which change. I'm not an elf. I'm a dryad, which is like an elf but slightly different. Or you can even be a meta sapient or a shapeshifter. All of those options are costly and really change up your character, though. So you really want to be sure that that's the thing you want to do before you do it, so that you don't like mess up your character. Just read it before you choose them. Next up, we have attributes. Attributes are, of course, your core attributes, much like any other RPG. These are the basis for dice pools, which get combined with your skills and form the basis of many, or I think all of the derived statistics about your character, which are like just numbers that Chummer will crunch for you, but dodging, memory, things like that are based off of attributes. The higher the priority, the more attribute points you start with. You can see here we 24, 20, 16, 8, 16, 14, 12. I'm not sure what the parentheses is. But basically, the higher up it is, the more you get. It's that simple, and so all of the points need to get used up in character creation. The third one is magic or resonance. Refers to your ability as an awakened or emerged person. Magic for awakened, resonance for emerged. Emerged characters consist exclusively of technomancers, whereas with magic you have a variety of characters you can play as. If you were not playing either of these types of characters, this should always be E. It's a very easy choice for mundane characters, giving you a little more flexibility elsewhere, because if you're not using magic or resonance, you're going to be mundane, so that's E. That's the lowest priority slot, just taken care of for you right there. For those who want to play an awakened or emerged character, the higher priority you place this on determines both what kind of awakened character you can play or if you can be emerged at all. So you can see mundane, adept, or aspected magician, but at D you only get 2 magic. I don't know what that is. At C, all of a sudden you can take technomancer. You only get 3 resonance. Adepts get 4 magic. There's a couple other weird things, but spellcasters or magicians only get 3 magic. B, you get maxed out as an adept. Magicians have 4. And then at A, you can play a really powerful mage or a really powerful technomancer, or if you want to completely ruin your character, you can play a mystic adept. So yeah, you can see how there's a different power scale. So B, you don't need to be A to be the best adept in the game, because you can't. So depending on what kind of magic user you are, or if you want to be a technomancer, different scales of this are better depending on who you want to be. Fourth is skills. Skills work pretty much exactly like attributes, except they have skill groups. So the higher priority, the more skill points you get, and the more skill group points you get. Skill groups raise multiple skills all at the same time. So raising your attributes are your core abilities, and then your skills are how many things you can do and how well you can do them. And then the final one is resources, which is money. You can see how crazy it gets, the scale of it. So the higher it is, the more money you have. It's just that simple. So, a mundane character gets to pick E here, but they might have an absolutely cracked amount of money to start the game. Below, we have the metatype selector. You can change between different types of races, different metatypes. So for this, we're just looking at the core ones. On the right, you see the metavariant drop down here, like I pointed out earlier. Make you a little more wacky guy. They change some significant stuff about you. They also cost karma, so they're not free. And if you pick like lower ones, see just human, only have human, all I can pick is human. If I pick human or elf, human, dwarf, orc, got it. B, troll. So depending on what you pick for your meta type priority are the options you'll have here. You get a little area here which shows your initial stats. These are like your base stats before anything's been improved. So you can see how these change pretty significantly for like a troll, a dwarf, orc, elf in comparison to a human. But a human gets extra edge. That's their bonus. In the bottom right, final thing, I'm actually going to click off magic. So, hey, where'd it go? Oh, sorry. So, depending on what you choose, you may be able to tag a skill. So, for instance, I know that adepts get to choose any one active skill. Be like, what's your adept thing? Mages get 2 magic skills. So, depending on what you are, I think technomancers get 3 resonance skills. And this depends on this. So just depending on what you end up playing, you might get to tag skills as a sort of consolation prize for not being able to set skills at probably A or B. You get to tag some skills here, and they'll start at an accelerated rating, usually 4 or 5. Yeah, depending on the magic priority, you'll get to choose something, and then it starts at 4 or 5 instead of 1. But you might not have this if you're mundane. You don't get it. But as mundane, I can set this to C, set attributes to A, skills to B, and resonances to D, or resonances, resources to D, and we're good to go. So I mean, that I don't know if that's good, but it's something. And that's it for the priority table. So when you create your character, it's an interesting question of who do you want to play? What kind of a character do you want to play? What role do you want to take in the party? And what do you think is the best for you? Do you want to have big attributes and then improve your skills later in exchange for a shit ton of money? Well, that might be a good idea. Do you have magic? If so, how much? What kind? All of these things are interesting questions to ask yourself as you prepare for character generation and then during the generation process itself, and really make character generation in Shadowrun really unique compared to other systems. There's no way to build the best possible character out of character generation in Shadowrun. You're always going to have some kind of hole, some kind of thing that makes you need the other people in the party. And this is a part of that. You can't have it all here. You can only have so many things be good before you have to start making the choice of, what's at D and E. So yeah, I think it's pretty cool. There are alternatives for this, like karma buy, where you just get a flat amount of karma. I think it's like 700 or something like that. There's some to 10 where all of these priorities have a numerical attachment to them, so you can pick like A multiple times, but I think A represents like a 4, so you can only pick A, or it's some larger number, so you can only pick things so many times before you hit 10. But I like the default priority system. It's very easy to understand, especially in Chummer, which is going to do all the all the heavy lifting for you. So that's it for the priority table. When we come back to this, I'm going to get started on a sort of demo character and take you through a tour of what the actual characters look like in Chummer. And then after that, I'm going to finish creating the demo character. And then lastly, I'll show you what career mode looks like. So that's the plan. And this was the priority table for now.